Hello, so my name is Trihanna Wild, I am 25 years old and I'm practically your wildest drag queen from the south. Originally, DRAG stands for dressing up as a girl. Some people, especially women, get offended, sometimes because I look more of a woman than women. We've been raised to not dive into our feminine aspect, not to be vulnerable. The man should be a man, should work certain jobs, should play certain sports. That's toxic eventually, and that's the problem we have nowadays. And I used to get, for example, bad reactions from River of Love. Nowadays, they don't mean anything to me. The joy comes from the audience. I know that every time I set foot on the stage, I'm helping someone. Anything that I do, I'm affecting someone positively. Jina Tristan Zammit, il-moħ wara Trihanna Wild.
Naħseb qegħdin il-post tajjeb, ma nafx, ma ejja naraw.
Yes, say Aramina.
All right.
Kifana. Hello, my name is Trihanna Wild and welcome to my drag studio. So originally, Trihanna was exposed to the world in 2018. There was a competition and I needed a stage name. My legal name is Tristan, so I wanted the TRI to stand out somehow. And we eventually came up with Trihanna, but I wanted to insert like the spice, the flavor. So Trihanna Wild to represent the wildness of how I present myself on stage. At a very young age, I always used to go backstage in our theater we had at school, touch up the wigs, touch up the costumes. The theater kid was always in me, yes, you can say. Not literally, because even when Halloween and the carnival came around, I always wanted to dress up as like Lady Gaga. The drag element was always there. I put on wigs, I put on extravagant makeup, platform, chunky heels, whatever. Eventually, I got exposed to RuPaul's Drag Race, and that's where I started learning like this is something which interests me. The way I exposed Trihanna mostly is through social media. So like I never imagined myself doing a wig such as the blonde one, for example. That was my fully handmade wig. So that comes by time. What I don't put in my vocabulary is the word I don't know how. If I don't know how to do that wig today, I will know for sure next week. With my drag, I like to expose all of the elements. Like even when I take off a wig, some drag queens hate to take off the wigs, for example, but I love the theater aspect of it. Unfortunately, people just see us on stage performing, doing cartwheels, and like, that's it. No, it's not. Just getting into drag for like a normal gig, 4 hours, makeup and hair. Costume. Originally, DRAG stands for dressing up as a girl. The goal was, back then, to look as feminine as possible to sell the illusion. Nowadays, it's no longer even called a drag queen. Some people take drag to look out of this world, like for example an alien with ears, this extravagant makeup. There's drag kings also, we can't exclude those. When someone comes on to me with a bad mentality of drag, I try my best to educate in the sense that I'm not doing anything harmful to you by doing all of this. Some people, especially women, get offended by me, for example, because I've had this spoken like straight to my face. Sometimes because I look more of a woman than women. So I don't understand why. Me being that good at what I do, how is it offending the person?
A lot of the Maltese go watch a panto, for example.
But the thing is, a panto, you see a person, you see a man dressing up as a woman, but the goal is to still look like a man. Like you'll see body hair, even like facial hair. But when I do it, I shave my legs, shave my chest, shave my arms. You're seeing from afar a woman. We've been raised to not dive into our feminine aspect, not to be vulnerable. The man should be a man, should work certain jobs, should play certain sports. That's toxic eventually, and that's the problem we have nowadays. We're a small island and we're very religiously driven. Like you still have these older mentalities that do not approve of what I do, which is fine, as long as you don't impose your beliefs onto someone else who is not that knowledgeable. And I used to get, for example, bad reactions from River of Love. Nowadays, they don't mean anything to me. Back then, when I saw that little sad react, and even they would personally private message me to seek help, the word of God, yada yada yada. This is the same thing as, for example, someone coming up to me to do a diet plan. If I want to do a diet plan, I will come myself. If I want to follow your religious beliefs, I will come myself. Thank you very much.
The smaller events that you do, what is your favorite ones that you love to perform at?
So I absolutely love Nerve because it's like the ultimate drag space, and even queer parties, I always excel in them. I'm proudly one of the organizers producers of Femme, which caters more towards delivering a brilliant drag show. Lollipop is always a fun place to go to also. And now there's the first drag bar in Malta, which opened recently, Trihanna, which is very, very exciting. But I think my proudest would be when Below Deck Mediterranean contacted me to perform on the yacht. I couldn't believe it at first. The producers messaged me via email, via WhatsApp. I was like, this is spam, for sure. This is not real. And the producer was like, I've worked with Gordon Ramsay. I'm like, hold up now. She was like, meet me at this particular hotel and we'll discuss. I went to the hotel, cameras everywhere, buffet, food, snacks. I was like, okay, this is real. The joy comes from the audience. That's why I do it, regardless of the hate comments. And nowadays I don't even look at the hate comments. But eventually I had the mentality of I'm doing it for the fans out there who really love and support drag. Throughout my career, there were people who told me I want to start drag, but unsure of what my parents think. And I know that every time I set foot on the stage, I'm helping someone. Not directly, but my presence on stage, on social media, anything that I do, I'm affecting someone positively. What I say to also other drag queens is know your audience, because that's where the problem lies. If there's people and you wear a two-piece and you're a drag queen, it will get interpreted in a certain way. You have to adapt to the spaces that you are in. For sure, we need to have a space that's big enough and that's like set in stone to be the go-to. I'm gonna say queer because that's the topic we're talking about. However, it kills me inside because pride eventually is to cater for all. However, that's not the message that's going to be interpreted out there. So I would like to eventually own or manage a club that's big enough to accommodate drag shows and just be a fun night out in this particular venue. There's no need to label anything about it, just you go there, have a drink, have a laugh and enjoy the show. Jina Tristan Zammit il-moħ wara Trihanna Wildé.